You do not have to walk through darkness. You do not have to walk alone. You do not have to walk beside yourself, by yourself, nor do you have to walk in the lies of the world and the lies of the enemy. The Bible guides you in the truth. 2 Timothy 3:16 says, all scriptures is God breathed and is useful for teaching, rebuking, correcting, and training in righteousness. So, my brothers and sisters, you don't have to walk in a lie. You don't have to walk in the wrong direction. You don't have to walk out there by yourself. The Bible prepares us to serve God and to serve others. 2 Timothy 3:17 says, so that the man of God may be thoroughly equipped for every good work, blessing your family, blessing those around you. The Bible, the Bible, basic instructions before leaving earth. That's what some people have said the acronyms of Bible stands for. All I know is that the Bible is our roadmap. The Bible is our code of conduct. The Bible is the way we should worship God and the way we should love him and the way we should love each other, our family, our neighbor, the homeless, and our enemy. The Bible sharpens your discernment and judgment. Hebrews 4:12 said, the word of God is alive and active, sharper than any double-edged sword. It judges the thoughts and attitude of the heart. The Bible gives instructions for eternal life. 2 Timothy 3:15 says, the Holy Scriptures are able to make you wise for salvation through faith in Jesus Christ. My Lord, my Lord, my Lord, what a mighty God we serve. He has given us the book that has the answers to all of God, to all the questions that you may ask. This Bible is the book that is able to lead you from the cradle to the grave. This book called the Bible has been around for as long as we shall live and have lived. He gave us the word because he knew that there was a way out of your mess, and it's JESUS, the word.
Where can you buy a brand new Nissan with a lifetime warranty? Kingston Pike. Hey, folks, Gerald Anderson with Ted Russell Nissan. You heard it right. Every new Ted Russell Nissan comes with a lifetime warranty, and that's a long, long time. Ted Russell Nissan on Kingston Pike.
Good morning and welcome to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Ask Your Neighbor can also be heard and seen on our website, WYSHradio.com. And if you are in Anderson, Roane, or Morgan County and have Comcast cable, you can watch Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV Channel 12. Ask Your Neighbor is the program where you call in and do just that. Ask Your Neighbor. Do you have a comment? Do you have a problem? Or do you have a question? Then call in and ask your neighbor. 865-457-1380 or toll free at 877-711-4005. And for those of you that might be listening or watching on the internet, you can email from our website, WYSHradio.com. Just click on the Contact Us button and email your questions. Now sit back and listen as listeners throughout East Tennessee and the entire world answer your questions on Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV 12 and AM 1380 WYSH.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome into Ask Your Neighbor this morning. As I told you earlier today, Anderson County Law Director Jamie Brooks is joining us in here today. You guys might remember Mr. Brooks also served as our, was it General Sessions?
Chancery Court.
Chancery Court judge in interim, and then now serving as the Anderson County Law Director.
Yeah.
Is the Law Director, is it different than what you were doing as a judge, more similar to what you did as an attorney, or is it all of it different?
Ron, I call it a hybrid.
Yeah, really.
A lot of it is like what I did in practice.
Yeah.
You don't really know what's going to come at you from day to day, but it does involve a good bit of research, which is what I did as judge. So I feel like I'm pulling from both times, and so I enjoy that.
Is it new compared to what you'd done before, dealing with like governmental issues, and are they more, I don't know, detailed than maybe domestic or other stuff that you might have did?
Yeah, it's more statute driven than some of the common law stuff, like in divorces. All good bit of common law there. Yeah, I told somebody it's like drinking from a fire hose when I started out. I mean, I had some exposure, some experience with governmental stuff, but not the steady diet that I'm seeing.
As the law director, like when we get a lawsuit against us in Anderson County, I mean that's where not you consult county commission on things that they do, but if we get a lawsuit against us, then you represent the county in that lawsuit.
That's correct. Most of the time, though, you'll have insurance counsel because there will be some insurance coverage. You find that with claims against the sheriff's department. And then, for whatever reason, a good bit of the non-sheriff department stuff may get allocated out to outside counsel, either because there's a conflict within the county or it's something that's more detailed, more involved than our office is equipped to handle.
Okay.
That's what we have.
So how are things going in the county from your perspective? I mean, are you juggling a lot of things at the moment, or I mean, are we in good legal condition right now?
I think we are. I mean, you never know. I mean, we could go back and 4 new cases will be filed against the county tomorrow, but we've been on a roll a little bit of getting some things settled, some old cases that have been around. Yeah. Some cases that just took time to work their way to the point where counsel could get them resolved. Now, they're not cases our office has been directly involved in, but nevertheless, we've been able to report to commission that the county's got less litigation now than it did a year ago.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
it's always good.
It is.
Because, I mean, I know there for a little bit, it seemed like we were getting hit quite frequently with lawsuits. And I believe we lost a couple of them, and cost taxpayers quite a bit of money. That's why I was just kind of wondering if it was like different than defending somebody, in a general practice and going out and defending a, multi-million-dollar municipality, So
it is for a couple of reasons. You've got a client in both scenarios, but one client in private practice and you're laying stuff out for them, but you've got county commission that makes the decision, plus you're dealing with taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
And that's always on my mind. I think it's always on the mind of commission.
Do you, are you available for like the clerk and the trustee? Do you answer, so in reality, you've got a number of different clients within one giant client.
That's correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Under the umbrella of the county, by private act, it's commission. The mayor to a certain extent, the elected office holders, even the appointed office holders that you find you giving advice to.
I know you served as judge, and that was elected, or it is an elected position. But other than that, have you ever served inside a municipality, or have you ever handled this kind of law before we're dealing with taxpayer money?
I have some. As my office was in Wartburg in Morgan County. That's where I practiced for 37 years, and we represented the sheriff's department, and the city of Wartburg, and a couple of the utilities out there, and
on an as-needed basis.
On an as-needed basis, because they're just not capable of hiring somebody full-time, but. A lot of it had to do with loans and bond issues and things like that. Not so much, getting sued.
Yeah.
Although that it seems like the sheriff's departments everywhere
Sir.
are fertile ground for lawsuits.
Well, it's like every time Russell comes in once a month, and he's always got something pending somewhere. He was talking about early on in the career how he was surprised that he personally would get sued, along with the county getting sued, and the department gets,
you don't ever get used to seeing your name as a defendant, even if it is in an official capacity as sheriff or mayor or whatever the role is.
So how are you liking doing this?
I'm enjoying it.
Well, good.
Some smart person on the sheriff's command staff came up, and we were talking after I lost the primary, and he said, things always work out the way they're supposed to. And that was probably a year ago, and I had no idea I'd be sitting in the law director's office when we had that conversation. But I find that advice to be true.
Sure.
I mean, I don't like the circumstances under which I was brought in, but
talking about Jay passing away.
About Jay passing. Yes. That's just I hate that. I hate that I don't have his experience to draw on with questions, but I feel like I'm where I need to be, and I'm proud and happy to be there, continuing to serve Anderson County.
What's the most difficult part of being the county law director?
To me, I think it's navigating what the potential conflicts are, because you do have such a umbrella of folks that you're giving advice to. It's just constantly there, and
trying to keep them out of trouble.
Trying to keep them out of trouble, yes, and not cross a line by giving the advice in conflicting situations, I guess. But I think that's a challenge with all county attorneys.
Sure.
And it just comes with the territory.
What do you like most about doing this?
What I enjoy most is the interaction I have with the office holders at whatever level. I had exposure to the commission and to the office holders when I was on the bench, but that's a much more isolating job, and that's the way it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Here you're more at ease and more free to talk with and just sit down and listen to office holders, and I've enjoyed that the most. Learn a lot from people because they've been around these jobs for a long time, and if you just listen, you learn, and that's what I found.
You kind of learn the intricacies of all the different governmental offices without having to run for them, without having to be inside of them.
That's true.
But at the same time, if they do get in a pinch, you have to become an expert on it pretty quick, don't you?
You're looking for some instant knowledge, and you have I feel like there's a network of county attorneys I can call on. In fact, I'll be going to the annual convention tomorrow. It'll be my first one, and I'm really looking forward to, making some relationships with some of the other county attorneys that are just outside this area.
And what's I know that there's a city and then a county agency. Okay, is that the University of Tennessee? I started to say CTAS. Is it?
CTAS.
Yeah, CTAS and then MTAS, and that's for CTAS is county, right?
Correct.
Okay.
MTAS is the municipalities.
And that's a resource. What does the state provide that resource, or the university?
University of Tennessee, I think, does, and they have quite a storehouse of issues that they've dealt with and written opinions on, and that is one place to start to kind of get into the ballpark, and then from there move to the statutes, move to the case law to fully understand as best you can what's going on. And there's other I was put onto a resource offered through North Carolina because they're very similar, that has a good body of information, and I've drawn on it some as well.
Is that really what CTAS is? It's just a collection of information, case information and stuff that you can go to draw off of in a similar case?
Yes, and then the people there are are glad to speak with you and kind of point you in a direction. as well, and that's helpful because you're having to learn as much as quick as you can.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So you've had this be same one career, but three different things. You know, you've been personal attorney, then you were on the bench, and now you're here representing the county. Do you like one more than the other?
Well, obviously, I enjoyed my time on the bench.
Yeah.
That was, at the time, that was the highlight. But, I think I'm where I need to be. And I said that earlier. You know, I'm kind of somebody that's done things just backwards. A lot of times you're going to bounce around in your career when you're starting out instead of when you're towards the end of it. But hey, that's the way it is, and I've enjoyed every step of the way. But I guess I try to enjoy most what I'm doing at the time, and that's the way I look at this.
Well, you kind of if you enjoy the politics and you enjoy the way the government operates, you've kind of got the best of both worlds because you're in a position where you don't have to deal with running a campaign every few years, but yet you're still helping the county taxpayer and helping the people there inside the county. So you're still having the service aspect of what you're doing, like a elected official would, but without having to go out and run a campaign and do that. So, and that's the worst part about any elected, this is running the campaign in the elected office. And I know I asked you this probably before when you were here, but what made you want to leave private practice and move to the bench? Just the normal graduation of what you do?
Yeah, probably the normal graduation, plus the jurisdiction or the types of cases that come up most in Chancery Court is what I did for 37 years. So it was just a natural to see it from a different side, but it was the same type of cases.
That was a lot of divorce, custody battle, a lot of things like that.
Estates, property, all of that is what I handled when I was in private practice.
And then how much of that is similar to what you're doing with the government? I mean, I would assume that a lot of the property stuff, would be similar. Correct. I don't know if the domestic and all of that would be similar, but
we don't. We don't deal any with domestic.
Yeah.
Although we deal with land issues, and those things can be as explosive as a divorce case.
They can, yes.
Within the property, I think the zoning issues that we face here in Anderson County are the most challenging. And I say that because, Anderson County is so attractive to people.
Yeah.
And we're seeing an influx, and that is somewhat changing the landscape of development here. And I just see a lot of zoning issues, and I don't see that changing for a while.
I know that the commission Monday night worked on changing our occupancy tax.
Yes.
And is that so? And then, if I understood that was something that the state required us to do. Was that something that you consulted with them on how, what, when, where, and
It is, and our office drafted the resolution. Anderson County had had assessed the occupancy tax by private act.
Yes.
And undoing a private act is cumbersome, but the legislature, when they passed the reform, allowed commissions to do away with their private act by resolution.
Gotcha.
And so that's what we've done here in Anderson County. We've replaced the private act with this resolution. Now, it did not change the allocation. You don't. The statute didn't provide for a change in allocation.
In other words, for what the money's used for?
Okay. We still use it for the same things we did before. If there's any change, it has to be moving more or 100% to tourism type things.
Did if I understood right, did the state mandate where it had to be cut off at 8%?
4% of the counties, and what they did is 4% inside cities and outside cities the county can assess, and that's what that's what we're doing. It's 4%
Because
countywide.
ours was 5, wasn't it?
That's
We dropped
right.
it.
Yeah,
Okay.
You're way up on more on this than I am.
No.
Yeah, it was 5%,
Yeah.
and it's dropped down 1% to 4%, but it's expanded the base
Sure.
area, and there's quite a bit more opportunity to collect the tax from Airbnbs and short-term rentals and things like that
Yeah.
are addressed by the legislation.
I got to notice I've got my houseboat up Campbell County Marina. It's an actual houseboat. It's not a floating cabin. It's an actual houseboat. But I guess they're going to start assessing some type of taxes on that now. So
they're looking around.
The lower you can go, the better we'll be. So
everybody's looking around for a revenue source.
I understand. Though, in today's market, especially here in East Tennessee, I had some guys on from BW 270, Local 270 yesterday, and they're primarily electrician, and they were here looking for people. They need people. They need warm bodies to come in and get in their apprentice program. He's talking about they had, I think they said 17 that they needed to fill just this very second for a job in Kingston, and then they work with TVA and a lot of others. They just, there's a lot of growth coming, so there should be a great opportunity. That with that growth comes people. With people comes retail. With retail comes sales tax revenue that we collect off of, and property tax when it's improved upon. So it just seems like there's a great growth in our tax base, with or without changing tax rates.
That's right.
And like you said earlier, I mean, we've become a pretty advantageous place, or place that people are really taking a close, hard look at and moving into.
Absolutely.
I told somebody the other day, I've had two people, like I had one person leave me a note in my mailbox from Las Vegas, wanted to know if I'd be interested in selling my house, and I got an email from another person, the same thing. I guess there's just not a lot of housing on the market, whatever they were looking for, but it's never happened to me before. People just solicit you to sell you buy their house.
Yeah, I know. Of course, we all get these spam calls.
Oh, sure.
Or they're just fishing for information about selling your house.
Sure.
But yeah, it's a different climate now.
Do you have a set amount of time you want to do this, or you just take it as it comes, or just how do you see?
I'll take it as it comes. One of the, you're aware that the law director's office was established by private act.
Yes.
And that was 2006 or 7, I think. It's been about 20 years. And commission and the Legal Services Advisory Committee wanted to look at making changes to it. And I said, well, that's perfect. I'm here. I can work with you on that. I understand that, I understood going in. They wanted to make some changes. So depending on how that turns out, it may dictate or contribute to how much longer I do this. I mean, I'm 65. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Don't have any plans to go anywhere right now. Of course, I serve at the pleasure of the commission, and they may have different ideas. But
well, I know they bandied about trying to take it back to a elected position, and I don't know. I really don't know how I feel about that. So in some instances, I've felt like it ought to be, and then there's other instances where it just would have seemed inappropriate. It would be hard to advise when you're going to be advising against doing something that's going to seem negative to the same public you're going to have to recruit votes from. And so, I mean, that's kind of a double-edged sword no matter which side of it you use.
Yeah, I mean, I would, and it doesn't really matter what I think, but I would tend to be in the appointed side. And the reason I say that is you've got an accountability partner if you're appointed, and that, in this case, is the commission.
Yeah, you're kind of elected by proxy,
right.
From the people.
That's right. But you are removed from the countywide election process, which requires campaigning and time away from your normal duties, which, I well know about that from the campaign we ran last year. So all in all, I would be in the appointed column.
And like I said, for the most part, I think that it's worked. Although I mean, I went through an issue where the legal advisory board had to meet, and come to find out it was the first time they had ever met in at that time maybe 16 years. But come to find out, it's hard to remove somebody from that position just because you have to get the legal advisory board has to be either unanimous or two-thirds, and then the same with commission, two-thirds. But there still isn't accountability.
There is accountability, and that's one of the things they're looking at, Ron, with the Private Act, is maybe to make an adjustment on that, what it takes to put someone in, what it takes to remove someone from office.
Well, I just remember, anybody that's listening to the station knows what I'm talking about. I had an issue with, Law Director Yeager, and asked for a meeting with the, legal advisory board to state my case. And then, these guys that are elected, the Jeff Cole and all these people, here they had to sit and listen, and then they were going to have to make a decision to send up. It didn't come to that, but you would believe the calls. They were like, Ron, I don't want to be in this position. We're going to have to make this decision and send it up. And I don't want to hire or fire nobody. I've got my own race to run, my own, my own ducks to tend to. And so I saw that it puts a lot of weight on people in there. And I don't know if you need necessarily the same people that are running for other positions in the county office to then have to rule over, the consequences of somebody that's appointed.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. A lot smarter people than me will have to figure that out. But there's room for improvement. I'll leave that on it.
There is, and that is, I think if you talk to some of the elected office holders that are on the Legal Services Advisory Committee, I think that's one of the things they're encouraging be looked at because they're just because of their roles. Although I think they got it right, at least for the hiring side of it, because these office holders run their own offices. They have personnel decisions they have to make every day, so they're gifted in that area for the hiring. The other side of it, I agree. It's sort of above my pay grade as well.
Exactly. Well, nobody's ever going to be happy. Everybody's never going to be happy. That's what I'm trying to say, I guess. I wanted to get in. I talked to Jasper, and he said he'd been talking to you, and I said, let's see if Jamie will come in. We can just kind of talk about the state of the county overall and how, from your perspective, and you see, you probably see mostly the controversial stuff, but from your opinion, what is the state of our county?
I think the county's in good shape. You've got, in my opinion, and I have a small sample size, I see commission works well with each other. You were talking about commission meeting Monday night where they were addressing many things in the occupancy tax. And you could see the commissioners, particularly those in Oak Ridge, were concerned, but everybody had a chance to air what they wanted to say, and I think the vote was pretty close to unanimous. There may have been 2 or 3, but that's an example that I see of them working together.
It kind of appeared to me that this is something that the state was asking us to do. It wasn't necessarily something we dreamed up to do,
right,
but it's something the state was asking us to get on board with. So we kind of didn't have a choice. I guess we might have had some choice in how we did it, but doing it was pretty much mandated by the state through our state legislature. Well, it's good. I believe that the county's in a good position right now too, and I look at it more of from our tourism and from our retail, because that's the world that I live in with the radio station and stuff, and just the growth. We need more housing, and I think that'll come. I think there's efforts to get that underway now, but it looks like you're probably going to have your hands full going forward, because the bigger we get, the more problems we'll have, and those problems will eventually find their way into county government. But I'm glad you came up today. Is there anything that you want to tell people?
Happy to have an opportunity to be here. I think I was telling Jasper, and we may have talked about this when I was here before, the people that serve in government, whether it's elected, appointed, or whatever.
Yes.
People need to know, the citizens need to know who they are, need to know what they do. And I appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk about the position, because it's one I enjoy.
Well, good. Well, I wish you great luck with it, and I hope that everything works out. And again, I don't know what's going to happen if they change the rules or whatever, but I've enjoyed getting to know you over the last year or so, and setting your court, and enjoyed the way you handled that. And
well, I appreciate it.
I appreciate you coming in and just giving us an update on things going on. And we'll have you back, hopefully not under any circumstances where we've had to go through any trying lawsuits or anything like that. Most of them you can't talk about anyway, can you?
No, I couldn't. Of course, the last time I was here was the day of the bomb threat at the courthouse.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's always something going on.
It's always interesting, isn't it?
It is.
Jamie Brooks, Anderson County Law Director, thank you for coming in. It's a pleasure talking to you.
It was a pleasure talking with you. Thank you for having me.
Anytime, my friend. Talk to you soon. All right, folks, we're going to wrap things up here. Y'all have a good day. I appreciate you.
Each day, we bring you the latest in local news. Mike Witcher has your weather forecast, and Pete Michaels is in the sky with your traffic. So we've got you covered, and if you see news happen, let us know. Your source for local information news since 1960, WYSH.
Hammers is celebrating spring with bargains blooming everywhere. Every week, there are new shipments of ladies' famous label sportwear and men's branded clothing. Ladies and girls' trendy boutique fashions are always 25% off at Hammers. Check out the new arrivals of spring clothing and accessories from Simply Southern. Ladies and men's swimsuits have arrived just in time for spring trips to the beach. Enjoy